speak with us. His name is Zef Vataj. I want you guys to give him a warm welcome. Zef.
Hi everyone. So this is actually my first event that I'm here for. I live out most of the time in Massachusetts. I go to college out there. My family actually lives here in New York.
Say what school you go to, bro.
For those of you, because I'm sure I'm going to get that question, I go to Harvard. This is my... Oh, everybody started listening. This is actually my second year, so I'm a sophomore. And I help with marketing. I'm director of marketing for Foresight, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to actually get to know some of you. Our third topic for the day is on, and this is the important part, I guess, because now we've learned what a resume is about. The question is, what do you put on your resume? And there are a lot of different things that you can incorporate, as you've seen on there. But when you think about it, everybody has Eric's resume in front of them. Chances are, if you look at that resume, there are going to be a large number of people that are giving in the same exact form sheet to these companies. For example, at Harvard this year, 40,000 people applied. They can only accept about 2,200 students. That's 5%, 5.1% of everyone that applied. So just think about that. How difficult it is, even with some of these jobs. And if everybody looks exactly the same, how are they selecting who they want there? Now that's not to scare you, because there are ways to do it. That's just to show you that something has to set you apart. And the first step, as you guys are obviously here and everybody's been reiterating, you guys are doing the right thing. You're here, you're ready to learn. But there is a bit of a problem there, because you have to know how to separate yourself. So in the general populace, about 3.3 million students graduate from high school every year. 2.2 of those, so about 66%, enroll as college freshmen that following school year. So think about, we were talking about competition. Each of you is competing with about 2.2 million students across the country for those positions. One of the questions I believe was on the form at the beginning of this: why is it important to be competitive? That's the reason. Because it's not like you're just competing with the person next to you. You're competing with 2.2 million other people. But we're here because we know all of you have the ability to outcompete every single one of those 2.2 million other people. That you can get those positions and you can get those jobs and get into these schools. The question is how. And it might be a lot easier than you think. To differentiate yourself, you need experience. We all have stories. We all have places we've come from. But a lot of that can't be put on a resume. What can be put on a resume are work experiences. Internships is one of the biggest. I'm sure all of you have heard about internships. Does anyone here not know what an internship is? Okay. An internship is an opportunity given to you by a company through an application process to work with them for a select period of time. So it might be like summers for 3 months. It might be during school years for 2 or 3 months. And you work in a certain position and you learn different aspects of that company. So for example, myself, I'm a business administration major. One of the things I applied for was an internship at a local bank. I, started off as a teller, but you kind of learn what it takes to talk to people, to work with people, the ins and outs from the bottom, and slowly you start going up. Now there's obviously the downside of an internship where it's time consuming. The upside is, if you work at it, you might also get the job after that. Because a lot of these companies groom their interns to be their next set of employees. Internships aren't necessarily, though, the only way to get it. There are job opportunities, so working anywhere is an experience in and of itself. Of course, you get money in an internship. A lot of internships are paid in jobs as well. But you can also volunteer. A lot of us here, working with Foresight, are volunteers. But that's another experience that shows you're dedicated. You can volunteer at short periods of time, so it doesn't necessarily have to be time consuming. You volunteer at hospitals if you're into medical research or want to become doctors. You volunteer with, say you love animals, you intern at pet shelters. Or during the holidays, you volunteer for soup kitchens to do something good. And that also shows character to these companies. That sets you apart from other people, because now you're showing, I care. I work to be involved. I don't just work because I want to get paid. Because companies, sure, they're going to pay you, but they want somebody who cares about what they do as much as they do. And that's the same with the schools. And of course, the easiest one, we have your director of student activities here, work with the school clubs. My first year, I didn't know anyone at Harvard. I was just small fish in an ocean, basically. And the first thing I did was go to a club fair. I got involved with the Harvard Extension Business Society, and that was the first year they threw their case competition. 55 teams from, I believe, 13 countries around the world signed up for it. And I got to say I was a volunteer for that. The best part was, this year, I'm the VP of Logistics. So now, after we worked up, this is our second year with the case competition, we now have 127 teams that applied across dozens of countries. And now I get to say, because I stuck with them and I worked with a club, I get to put on my resume, VP of Logistics for one of the largest case competitions in the world. And you guys get to do the same thing. You have an idea, join a club. Work with your counselors. They can help you start your own club if one doesn't already exist. And if it does, chances are there's a leadership position there waiting for you. And then there's also that other aspect that we were talking about, experience. The hard knocks way of learning. So some things you could take right out of a textbook, but that's boring. Chances are you'll forget it as soon as summer comes around and you're jumping in the pool. But with this experience, you never forget it. Because now you've done it. It's muscle memory. And the way to start doing this is by being proactive. Get to know people, work with your counselors, network, look around at opportunities, and all of a sudden things start happening. So imagine this for a second. Everybody close your eyes. Picture in your head your dream school or your dream job. Picture where you would like to be, maybe, in 5 years, in 10 years. Might that be in a penthouse on Central Park South? Maybe hanging out on the beach. Because your new job is a photographer traveling the world. Or would that be in a corporate room giving a presentation to Goldman Sachs executives? Because you're the new marketing director. So wherever that is, you can get there, but it starts now. Everybody open your eyes. You're still here, but that doesn't mean you have to stay here forever. So every day, you have to try building yourself up, these experiences, these opportunities. It's very simple 4 steps that I'm going to give you right now to what you need to do. The first 3, you do tonight. I want to make sure the next time I see you guys that I'm giving high fives to everyone for having followed these steps and be on track to be where you guys just pictured in 5 years, 10 years, 1 year from now. First step, write out your resume. You have a template, just like Eric's. Fill it out, every single thing. If you're still having difficulty figuring it out, look up on Google how to write a resume. They give you very easy step-by-step ways to do it. And I'm guilty of that. I've looked up on Google a couple times how to write a resume, at least while I was in high school, and now you get used to it. Step 2. Now that you have that resume, look through it. What parts of it are strong? What are you good at? And look at what parts need work. Do you have enough leadership roles? Do you have enough experience? Can you maybe add more? What hobbies do you have that you can translate into opportunities? Once you've selected 1 or 2 of those, the third step is open up your internet browser, go to Google, and type in whatever your interest is, followed by internship opportunities or job applications, volunteering hours. Ask your counselors what clubs there might be. Make a list, because those are the ones you're going to be applying to, because that's your 4th step. And that might not be tonight, but in the next week, you need a list of all the places you're going to be applying to that you want to join, because this is what it takes to be competitive. So, again, hands up. First step.
Yeah, so let's write these steps down,
First
people.
step. Come on, what's the first step? Write out a resume.
Here, people. Let's go. Let's get the pencils out.
There we go. First step, write out your resume. Second step. Somebody in the back. One of the tables in the back. Come on, guys. Second step. It's easy, yeah. Yes. Find what you're interested in. Look where you might need some improvements. Third step. Yes. Perfect. Talk to people that can help you get there. Look up on Google internships, job opportunities, volunteer places. If nothing else, you know something you want to do, start a company. That's what I did. And it's not the easiest, I'll tell you that now. But I found out I was interested in it because my dad kept badgering me. Read this book, read this book, read this book. It was a thick textbook. And I was senior year of high school. I didn't want to read any more textbooks. I was like, leave me alone, I'm not interested. Finally, I was like, all right, I'll shut him up, let me read it. Business plans, how to write one. At the end of it, it wasn't that hard. So I was like, let me give this a shot. Might be interesting. And that's what my major is now. So it might be something just as simple for you guys. And the 4th step, the most important. Come on, guys, it's the most important step. Nope, step 4. After you have your list, after you've found the job opportunities, apply to them. There you go. Anybody ever heard of the 80-20 principle? The 80-20 principle states that 80% of all the difficult work happens in the first 20% of the process. So 80% of your work will be done by applying. Once you've done your resume, once you've found your weaknesses and strengths, once you've applied to the places you're interested in, 80% of your work will be done. Now you sit back, wait for an answer, and all of a sudden, your dream is coming true. So we all know you can do this. Now prove to yourself that you can. Any questions before we move on? Yes.
When you're doing things like resumes, if you did work like that wasn't like on paper, like you didn't, like for example, let's say your parent has a business and you helped out in that business, can you put that in your resume?
Of course. So the question is, what if your parent has a business or works somewhere and you help them out? That's just like an internship. You've worked with them, you have the experience, just explain, what did you do?
You also don't need to say that it's your parent.
Yes.
Just
Very
a
true.
company, it's just a business, that's it.
Yeah, actually, don't mention your parents at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, any experience counts. Yes.
What set you apart when you applied to Harvard?
What set me apart?
From others?
Honestly, I'm not all that sure. I think it was number one, I'm a first generation. Both of my parents are immigrants, so my first language is actually Albanian. I didn't speak English until I started kindergarten. That obviously helped, but also my interest in business, so starting companies, working with, I volunteered at real estate management groups. It wasn't even paid internships. I just volunteered to show up, work with them, because I was interested in it. My parents were in it, so I want to learn more about it. And those are the kinds of things that other people didn't do because they didn't really think to do them in advance. Any other questions? Yes?
What type of internships did you have a major in business?
So mostly business-related stuff. Like I said, the ones before college were largely real estate management. And then over time, after I finally read that textbook my dad wanted me to read, I decided that business administration doesn't seem to be as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And I figured, hey, I enjoy it, let me go with it. What's that? Interesting. Turning point in my life. I'd say my biggest turning point was once I graduated, or realized I was graduating high school. Because up until then, I lived in a really tight-knit community. It was almost like a bubble. And as soon as I walked down and picked up that diploma, I thought to myself, wow. The people I'm friends with now, I might never see again. I'm going into the world, more or less, with just what I have. My hands, my feet, what's in my head, and that's it. So, you know, people tell you this, but until it really hits you, you're not prepared. And then when it hits you, you realize, maybe I'm more prepared than I thought for all those things they said I wasn't ready for.
As a first generation college-bound kid, what was your biggest motivating factor, or what was your biggest area of support to help you get there that my students can also sort of latch on to?
Sure. I had a similar situation to you guys. I didn't really know where I was going to be applying. I didn't really know how to apply. My dad went to college 25 years ago here in the US, but he didn't really remember much of the process. He supported me in everything I did, just like my mom did. My mom didn't go to college. She was an immigrant. She came here. So they weren't really much help in the aspect of actually finding venues for me, but they were the ones that pushed me to look and strive for the best. There's a good possibility without them I wouldn't have applied to Harvard, but because they said, you're applying anyway, aim for the stars, you might land somewhere, I gave that a shot. So your friends, your family, even just from yourself, the one thing I do every single day, and this is sometimes difficult, but I was telling my group, I look in the mirror every night and I ask myself, am I better than when I woke up this morning? Did I do something that it made me better? Did I change someone else's life? And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, the answer is no. I feel like I didn't do anything that day. I felt like I let myself down. But that's how life goes. There are ups and downs. So you go to bed and you wake up the next morning and you write out a list for yourself. I'm going to do this today. And every night, did I do what I wanted to do? Am I better today than I was yesterday? Did I answer the question?
Very well.
Okay, small groups, commence. I got you.